I've done, what, 1, 2, 3, 4 videos with Anna? Well, time to change again. That's right, boys, we're going GER mode. I know some people see GER fans as Invader Zim fan LARPers, but I don't care. You're an Invader Zim fan? Name 10 Invader Zims. Okay, but seriously, today's commentary is about a video made by Prototype posting on the subject of Dandy's World and why it's apparently a poorly made game. I am not exactly a fan of this video, but me being a Dandy's World fan isn't the reason for that. Well, at least it isn't the only reason. What makes me hate this video is the fact that I know literally anything about Dandy's World. What I'm saying is that this video gets a lot wrong. Oh my god, guys, wait, I'm a true SCC member. I'm arguing over video games. Oh, and yes, I do know that there are 2 very stupid looking elephants in the room that I have yet to respond to, and I am going to respond to both of them, but I wanted to break the drama content up a bit with some more lighthearted content, so stay tuned for that another time. I wasn't actually expecting all this to become a drama in the first place, but back on topic. Let's begin.
Hey people, this video has a lot of reasons to exist. A, I need to get these opinions out into the world or else I'll fucking explode! B, I haven't really seen anyone give proper criticism on Dandy's World as a game. And C, it's not mentally healthy for me to think about this game anymore, so I might as well get it out of my system while I still can. So, Dandy's World. You know it, you love it, or despise it with all of your being. For those of you that don't know, Dandy's World is a stealth-survival roguelike made in the Roblox game engine. It's kind of infamous for having a pretty weird fandom of exclusively 12-year-olds and adults who have way too much free time.
AKA basically every Roblox fandom ever, or any mascot horror-inspired fandom ever. Seriously, I don't get why the Dandy's World fandom is so infamous. Well, it has Rule 34! You mean the rule that specifically says that everything online that exists will get point of it? No fucking way. Well, it has pro shippers. So does every fandom. Plus, half of them are rage baiting. Map Shelly isn't a real issue, it's just engagement bait. Well, there's stupid kids in the fandom. It's a fucking Roblox game. A mascot horror Roblox game. Shocker. Point is, Dandy's World is no different from any other fandom, especially any other popular Roblox game fandom. This isn't as much of a response to Prototype in particular as it is to anyone who's complained about the Dandy's World fandom because it's gross and toxic. He's not technically wrong by saying that the fandom is infamous, because it is. I just think that the reasons why it is considered infamous is kind of fucking ridiculous.
For me, however, this game is stuck in my brain purely because the gameplay is flawed on a fundamental level, and the fans just keep eating it up for no reason.
They eat it up for no reason. Maybe, hear me out here, they disagree with your opinion on the gameplay. Boom! Crazy!
Weren't you banished to Food Cordia? Shouldn't you be frying something?
Oh, I quit when I found out about this.
You quit being banished?
I'm probably going to have to explain the gameplay loop now, since most well-adjusted adults have better things to do than play Roblox all day. So this game is a floor-based roguelike, kind of like a mix of The Binding of Isaac and Repo with its formatting. You team up with up to 8 people and go through each floor completing generators.
You actually fill machines with Ica, not complete generators. Yes, I know I'm nitpicking, but come on. If you can't even explain the basic gameplay loop without fucking up, how am I supposed to trust you to explain in detail why this game is poorly made? Spoiler alert, you can't.
Here's the pizza you ordered.
Thank you. Hey! I love you.
We're going to start out with the biggest issue with this game, that being distracting. The characters each have a spread of 5 stats: skill check, stamina, speed, stealth, and extraction speed. Each character gets 15, or 16, stat points to put into these stats. You would naturally think that 3 in all stats would be the most versatile character could be, but like, you're wrong. It is objectively better to have high speed than any other stat. You want to know why? Here's a clip of a character running around from enemies at 1-star speed. You can see they're struggling a little bit with the stamina. Now here's a clip of a character running with 5-star speed. Yeah, they aren't using any stamina because you can just walk.
I definitely do agree to some extent that speed is one of the best stats to have, but it's also important to acknowledge the usefulness of the other stats. High stamina can make lower speed tunes faster by allowing them to run for longer. High stealth can make speed not as important because you aren't running from twisteds as often in the first place. High extraction speed makes you able to complete machines quicker and therefore complete floors quicker, getting to higher floors faster. And high skill check, yeah, the skill check stat is generally kind of mid compared to the other 4 stats, though I won't act like it's completely useless, especially with the addition of circle machines. Say what you want about the circle machines, they have definitely made the skill check stat more important, and I think that was a net positive to the game.
Since you can do this, it'd be a logical conclusion that you could permanently loop enemies in a corner of the map while everyone else just does machines and progresses the floor. This in turn makes everyone who isn't distracting enemies they just don't have to deal with enemies. They just sit in a corner and press space for the entire floor until the distractor dies. You can probably see what the issue is here.
That's actually not true if you actually know how twisteds work beyond twisteds are the guys that chase you. Twisted Blot, Dial, Roger, Razzle and Dazzle, and Connie are entirely impossible to distract. Same with Squirm, but this video is pre-Squirm, so we're just gonna ignore his existence. And many twisteds make distracting a lot more difficult than just run in a circle. Gigi steals your items if you don't dodge out of the way. Goob and Scraps slaps you if you don't dodge out of the way. Astro makes stamina deplete quicker. V literally slows you down. Sprout leaves traps around the map. And some twisteds are literally just impossible or almost impossible to outwalk. Meaning yes, you would have to use a good majority of your stamina to avoid being hit by them while distracting. It's also very important to acknowledge the stealth system. When it comes to distracting, stealth is a very important stat as well. What makes it so important is that a twisted will always prioritize the character in their sights with the lowest stealth. So if Pebble is distracting and Brightney happens to pass by, the twisteds will start chasing Brightney and will be incredibly difficult to lose because of the low stealth. So no, distracting doesn't remove all the danger from the game, it simply mitigates some of it, which in my eyes isn't an issue at all.
Even worse, since distracting was discovered, the devs have used it as essentially just a replacement for any sort of difference in character playstyle. Without it, individual tunes would feel more like Dead by Daylight perks than actual individual classes.
He brings up this Dead by Daylight perks thing multiple times in this video, yet never explains what he means by this or how this is a bad thing. I've never played Dead by Daylight, I have no fucking clue what you're talking about. I kind of expect you to elaborate.
This is an example of developers leaving in cheat strats, taking it to its logical extreme.
Except it's not all that extreme if you actually know how twisteds in this goddamn game work. Which you don't. Also, who cares if they leave in cheese strats? It's an entirely optional playstyle that you can just, not engage with if you think it makes it too easy. Like, maybe I'm just too used to watching FNAF Max Mode masochists heavily abuse cheese strats, but I genuinely don't see why cheese strats are that bad. And yes, I know it's different in FNAF because FNAF is single player and Dandy's World is multiplayer, but especially with me earlier proving that this isn't really much of a cheese strat to begin with, I don't really see the issue. If it is a cheese strat, it's barely so.
Distracting actively makes the game less fun.
That is entirely subjective, and also, again, this playstyle is entirely optional. If it makes the game less fun objectively, then why would so many people use it? That doesn't really make sense to me.
Yet the devs leave it in because they can't be bothered to actually balance a mechanic.
Or they just think it's a good aspect of gameplay and therefore don't feel the need to change it. Also, Dial exists. I'm pretty sure he was made specifically to not be distractible, and when people found a real cheese strat to distract him, it was patched. R.I.P. Sonic Bassie.
Problem 2. Reliance on progression.
What?
Andy's World's entire gameplay loop relies on progression, since without it, the game would be much less addicting for the 12-year-olds.
Yeah, what else would it be reliant on? It's a game about unlocking things and progressing floors.
The progression system is essentially just grinding Icar by playing the game and grinding research. Research being the worst of the two, due to it being based on which random enemies spawn, leaving a lot of unlocks up to complete RNG on how long they'll take.
I mean, I guess, and trust me, it annoys me too sometimes, but that's not an actual issue with the game, that's just the game being difficult. The fact that it's RNG is kind of what makes it unpredictable and therefore more engaging. You yourself even said it makes the game more addicting, so like, what's the issue? That it's annoying sometimes? I mean, yeah, video games are going to have aspects that are challenging. That's kind of the fucking point.
What's worse is that some characters are locked behind mastering other characters. For Blat, you have to do a whole tree of mastery, getting the mastery for Poppy, Louie, and Yada in that order.
Not really. There's not really a specific order you have to complete the quests as long as Poppy comes before Louie.
Before even being able to think about buying him. You have to play as objectively one of the worst characters in the entire game to unlock V.
Wait, hold on. You think Brightney is one of the worst characters in the game? But Brightney has 3 movement speed, and as you've stated, movement speed is the most important stat in the game. So, by your logic, would she not be relatively average? Would the worst not be Connie or Sylvester? You entirely ignore the concept of stealth multiple times to make your points, but now all of a sudden having low stealth is relevant? Come on now, let's equip our fucking thinking cap trinket.
This isn't even mentioning the fact that most of the characters are complete dog water to play, because balancing isn't a thing the devs tried to do. It literally took me 6 months to unlock Sprout, simply because I didn't want to do a 2-hour, 20-floor run every single day.
So, you're complaining that the core gameplay that you actively dislike is not fun to play while trying to unlock a character in said game with said unfun gameplay. Do you not see the issue with your complaint here? Like, if you already don't like playing the game, what's the point of even trying to get Sprout? Obviously, the people who like playing long runs every day will unlock the characters quicker because they actually like the game and play it regularly. Because they enjoy the gameplay style. This is just a skill issue.
The progression system seems to take priority instead of the gameplay loop.
You need to do the gameplay loop to progress. What are you talking about? And this also doesn't make sense when you think about the fact that there's been 2 new machines added, and every time a new tune is added, a new twisted is added, which affects the core gameplay. I don't think this is an issue with the devs not focusing enough on the gameplay loop. I think the issue is that you don't like the gameplay loop and are therefore trying to act like it's objectively bad when it isn't. It's just not your kind of game, which is fine, but at the end of the day, that's a you problem, not a them problem.
Being needlessly complex in order to keep players always trying to get the next set of unlocks. What's even worse is when you run out of things to grind for, you just can't do anything. The gameplay is entirely designed around grinding, and you just have to wait for the next update to be able to, actually have any sort of goal.
When you unlock all the things, there's no more things left to do. I mean, yeah, that's how a lot of games work. You play the game until there's nothing to reward you for playing anymore. I don't really see the issue, especially considering the fact that the game gets updated regularly with new things to unlock. Also, this isn't technically true considering things like floor records. Also, there are just people who enjoy the gameplay loop. I enjoy the gameplay loop.
This is an example of a phenomenon with games as of recently I like to call Progressionslop, where a game entirely relies on progression to motivate the player.
Basically every game uses progression to motivate the player. What the fuck are you on about? I need to go meditate or something.
This leads to games that get stale quickly and progressively feel less and less rewarding.
Problem 3. Too much variety. Too little depth.
I've seen a lot of people complain that Danny's World needs more variety, and I honestly couldn't agree less. There are 40 different tunes, but it still doesn't feel like enough variety simply because the tunes lack any sort of depth. Let's take a look at 3 tunes from the Distractor class. Pebble, Goob, and Gordy. How do these characters play differently? Gordy can press F sometimes to give people a boost and potentially save them. Pebble can press F to save people by aggroing Twisteds, and Goob can press F to grab people. How are these tunes played outside of this? They can all run around in a circle distracting, or they could sit still and extract. That's basically 2 things each that just barely differentiate them. In practice, however, Goob and Gordy both don't even use their abilities when distracting, which basically just makes it 1.5 differences per character.
What's different about these characters other than the things that are different about these characters? You know what? I'll give you some more fucking differences. If we're just referring to distractor-related differences, Gordy has 1 stealth, meaning he's better at keeping Twisted's aggro on him than Pebble's 3 stealth and Goob's 2 stealth. He also has 1 stamina, which balances out his really low stealth when distracting. Pebble also has higher speed than both Goob and Gordy. Now, if we include other differences, Pebble is a horrible extractor, Gordy is an amazing extractor, and Goob is in between them, though he's also not the greatest. Gordy and Pebble also only have 2 hearts. On that note, calling Gordy and Goob distractors is a bit misleading since Goob can also play a decent role as support, and Gordy is an all-rounder. He can fit any role. So yeah, when you limit them to just being distractors, obviously they are going to seem more limiting. That's you being misleading and not an issue with the game.
This is what I'm talking about. 1 to 2 abilities per character doesn't really work most of the time, and just leads to them feeling like Dead by Daylight perks more than anything. Really, the stats actually determine more about the character's playstyle than their abilities, which is just fucking bogus.
Why? Why do abilities have to be more important than stats? Also, this entirely depends on the character. Louie's ability, for example, is incredibly important for him if he is playing Distractor. Most of the support abilities are also very important to gameplay. Hell, Goob can literally strategically save players by pulling them into the elevator while they're AFK or being chased.
Let's look at an actually good example of class variety in the game Team Fortress 2. That's right, this was secretly a Justin Jesus video! I'll compare another 3 classes from the defense class, which I think is most analogous to Distractor class, ignoring how badly designed it is. The Heavy has a machine gun as his main weapon, which is the most powerful mid-range primary weapon in the entire game, as well as a shotgun used to finish people off or defend himself when he can't use the minigun, with his main weakness being slow speed and rev time, giving him a distinct playstyle as a slow tank that could hold his ground and block enemy forces.
How is that much different from Gordy, for example? He has 2 abilities, and he has strengths and weaknesses. His strengths are skill check, movement speed, and extraction speed, and his weaknesses are stealth, stamina, and health. Now, low stealth can be a strength if you're distracting, but since Gordy's an all-rounder, I'll consider it a weakness. But that also just shows the versatility of characters like Gordy. His stats can be strengths or weaknesses depending on your playstyle. There's also another aspect about the diversity of playstyle that you never bring up in this video. Trinkets. Did you forget about trinkets? Trinkets can help remedy weaknesses in stats in different ways, some even slightly nerfing one stat to buff another, and depending on what trinkets you use, it can wildly change your playstyle. Hell, Mr. This game is too easy, you can literally just put on a trinket that makes your life 10 times harder just for shits and giggles. Have fun doing that.
Notice the word playstyle being used. Danny's World doesn't give characters distinct playstyles, because the system with mains and all that shit simply doesn't have the flexibility to allow any to shine through.
Yes, it does. Louie requires you to trade in health for speed. Sprout requires you to hoard tapes to heal players. Block gives birth to a baby to distract the Twisteds from him. I could have worded that better, but I'm not going to. Connie and Bobette's abilities can be used very strategically to get away from Twisteds, and considering Connie has 1-star speed, it's incredibly useful. And even then, their abilities are different from each other. Connie can move while in her invisible state, while Bobette can't move while in her box. This is to make up for Connie's low speed. And you say there's no balancing.
Heck, the character with the most def is Cosmo, who is literally just a healer who uses their health to heal. We also should compare how characters can synergize in each game. In Danny's World, there's like 3 character-specific synergies of Sprout/Cosmo, Ginger/Cosmo, and Coco/Bassie. That last one not even being a good synergy since Bassie could just carry better items than bonbons.
Well, yeah, but item spawn is RNG. Coco's bonbons are not RNG, and considering bonbons boost both speed and extraction speed a good bit, they're pretty damn good, especially when you get unlucky item spawns.
In TF2, there's actually too many specific character synergies to actually mention. Almost every character can actually synergize with each other. Medic can ubercharge attackers to make them the most powerful units in the entire game. Engineer can help heavy with their speed weakness using teleporters. Pyros work great at defending sentry nests. The depth of each character's playstyle allows each of them to help the team, even if they aren't directly next to everyone else.
There are other good character pairings though. Flight and any character with low speed. Goob and any character with low speed or stamina. Bobette and any character with low stamina. Shelly and any character with low extraction speed. Any healer and any main. Did you, completely forget about the support role? Yes, I know there aren't that many specific character pairings, but, okay, and if the characters are able to work together generally, I don't see the issue with there not being that many specific, unique character pairings.
Sirs, there's still the horrifying space hole straight ahead!
Why are you so negative?
By far, the most egregious example is what the devs have done to solo running. They have actively fucked over solo runs since the game started, to the point where the game is 500 times more difficult without a second player distracting.
Wait, the teamwork game isn't built for solo runs? No fucking way. My mind is truly blown. Next you're gonna tell me that the Twisteds hurt you instead of playing fucking patty cake with you.
They made it even worse recently by increasing the Twisted cap to 8, just because distractors were saying the game was boring and too easy.
Can we see a source for this? No? Just claiming that's the reason why they chose to do that without anything to back it up? Okay then. Also, you were just complaining about the game being too easy with distracting, but now you're mad that it's being made harder? Make up your damn mind. I'm pretty sure if specific distractors thought that the game was too easy, they would just not distract.
They also made it so that low-speed, high-distraction characters are even worse at solo runs because they made machines that take longer if your speed is low.
I want more complex playstyles. I want a more interesting gameplay loop. And then you get that, and now you're crying about it being too hard. Oh my fucking god. Say what you want about the treadmill machines, but they are actually a very good addition to the gameplay. They make it so extraction speed and skill check aren't the only important stats when extracting.
Okay, I'm moving on. This is pissing me off too much.
Problem 5. Roblox and criticism.
Let's face it, once your game becomes popular enough, you're basically immune from all criticism. Just look at Minecraft. Any form of criticism thrown their way falls on deaf ears, yet people still play because, actually, that's mostly because of mods and being able to roll back to earlier versions, but my point still stands.
Or maybe, again, hear me out here, they disagree with you and think Minecraft is a good game with good updates. I play Minecraft and I don't use mods, nor do I play older versions.
This is an issue with a lot of Roblox games, where the developers just kind of give up at a certain point and just add whatever, while the criticism from the fanbase is just ignored or just doesn't even exist.
Except the distractors who apparently complained about the Twisted cap, which the Dandy's World devs apparently immediately listened to. You are very consistent with your arguments. You can only listen to fan criticism if it's my criticism.
Take a look at Forsaken. They have gotten into the habit of just adding whatever without a care for balance or class design, yet people still play because I'm putting the blame on 12-year-olds again, fuck.
Do I need to make the point a third time? Maybe they play the game because they disagree with you and enjoy the game. Maybe I wouldn't mind you constantly making points like this if it weren't for the fact that your video's points fucking suck and it really doesn't give anyone any good reason to dislike Dandy's World, so this really just comes off as you trying to discredit people who disagree with you by acting like they are in some way lesser.
At this point, I can't really blame literal children for not being able to criticize the media they consume. Like, their prefrontal cortex is barely developed, and they can't even drive a car. Do I really expect them to be able to think logically about why the game they're playing is bad? No, that's too much pressure to put on a random child. The blame is entirely on the developers for not trying at all to make a good game.
And the blame is entirely on you for not at all trying to make a good video.
They're on the same level as any gacha game you can find on the Play Store, with very similar practices, like locking essential parts of the game. Heck, literally, Quell is a fan of Cookie Run. You can't be a good game developer and be a fan of Cookie Run at the same time.
That's not actually what that screenshot says. It just says she's playing it. What if she played it and ended up hating it? Like, come on, you aren't even trying here. Also, this is an ad hominem and doesn't fucking matter. Try again.
So, it's human against alien. Ironic I should face my enemy in this stupid barbaric game. Let this be our battlefield.
It's the size of a hippo, that head.
Characters should also each have a distinct playstyle so people have a reason to play them outside of just being the first character you get. Look at Poppy and Boxen, nobody fucking plays them.
But wait, doesn't the mastery requirements that you complained about earlier help that issue? People definitely wouldn't be playing Brightney if it weren't for V, after all. Requiring partial or complete mastery for tunes to buy other tunes makes it so you have to play more diversely to get the characters you want. You'd have to play characters you wouldn't normally play. The whole concept of mastery as a whole also helps that as well, since a lot of people like completing masteries as a challenge, even if they wouldn't really play the tune otherwise. So that's really all I wanted to cover, and holy shit, this video sucked. His critiques commonly ignored very well-known gameplay aspects to push a certain narrative about the game instead of just being honest and not misleading, and some of these critiques even contradicted themselves. This video was not a good critique of Dandy's World in the slightest. He had a point by talking about the lack of playtesting, but that's about it. Just a warning, I'll probably be switching avatars a lot in my next few videos. I'm just kind of experimenting with new character avatars and having fun and all that. You may even see a familiar green face as my avatar in one of my next videos. Well, anyway, thank you for watching, have a great day, and goodbye.